All right. Hello, hello, hello. We got a touchy topic here today. But I'm excited because this is one that I feel like when you really understand the energetics behind this, like, oh boy, hang on, because what is going to become available for you as a result, so good. So good. And I know that this is a common struggle or challenge for a lot of women. So if you're feeling this, you're not alone. Right? And I want you to acknowledge as we're talking today, there's probably going to be a little bit of pushback, a little bit of hesitancy, a little bit of like, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. And a part of this is in twofold, right? One, we all have different thoughts and perspectives and opinions. You may just not resonate with what I say in general, okay? But the other one that I really want you to consider is we're going to be talking here too about the feminine shield that comes up. This is a concept in energetics, and it's about the way the feminine tries to protect herself. Right? And when that is up, it is hard to see differently. It feels very real and raw, and the things we're going to be talking about, man, when I've dealt with my own in that space, like it can be intense to work through and to break out of this idea and this process. And I don't want to invalidate any of those experiences or thoughts or reasons for having that shield, but just know you may not be able to see some of the things I'm talking about or experience them because it takes time and there's a process of how we do that. Right? So, when you struggle with patriarchy, right? It's been a hot buzz word, big thing in recent years, I feel like. This idea of really understanding and breaking down and recognizing some of the different dynamics that can play out in our society. And depending upon who you talk to, you're going to get different ideas and descriptions of what is patriarchy and why is it a problem and why are we talking about it, right? So for me today, though, we're going to be looking at it and discussing it from the idea of looking at societal and cultural practices, beliefs, systems, and specifically how that relates to challenges that women, but also men, experience. But it's usually told specifically through that lens. And what we're going to be discussing today is that impact on women, okay? Typically in a negative way, right? Here is some challenge or problem that women have had, and here's the thing that's been going on culturally, societally, or whatever that has been impacting or causing or the thing that is making this happen, okay? And we're calling that thing patriarchy, okay? So from the get-go, right, when we talk about energetics, we are focusing, which for those of you who are new to me, hello, I talk all about energetics. It's one of my favorite things, a way to describe some of the intangible parts of our world and our life and how we can be more of that creator in our own lives. Okay? So everything I'm all about is helping us bring us back to the focus of who are you? What are you creating in your life? And how can you come at life and all of your experiences from that connection to self inward out, rather than there's this thing happening externally to me? Because when we're in this outward in perspective, we lose so much, not only just power or confidence, but we actually lose often that connection to ourselves and who we truly internally intrinsically are. Right? That's why it feels so painful, is that interrupting your ability to connect with yourself. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a little story and I'm going to see if this sounds familiar to you at all. You're going on this journey and it's like, okay, here's this thing I'm discovering. I want more for myself or more for my life, and I'm discovering these beautiful ways about it. And okay, well, these are the things I don't want. What caused those? right? Why did that happen in my life? And we start this sort of exploration journey of wanting to understand, where did that come from? Because the human part of us, we're very used to solving problems that way, right? And there's value in that. I don't want to discredit or dismiss that, right? It's good to say, hey, I see these things are connecting with each other and they're causing problems with each other. We should probably be aware of that and maybe do something about it so that more of this negative thing doesn't keep happening, right? Absolutely value in that perspective. Where it becomes a problem and where we get entangled is when we start creating this pressure and this idea of this thing is doing this thing to me. Right? And that thing can be a person, it can be a system, it can be an organization, it can be your kid, it can be your spouse, it can be a circumstance that shows up in your life, right? Because that is the moment we stop being able to lose, or we stop being able to influence how we want to show up and how we want to connect in the world, right? And what will happen is we get stuck in this cycle of like addiction to the problem, right? I want to see more about the problem. Oh, there's another example of it. Oh, there's an example of it. Oh, there's an example. And what this does is it keeps us sort of stuck in this, I need to get angry about something because that anger fuels my empowerment. And now I feel more empowered, but that's a short-lived one. And so it's going to like fall off in time. And then it's like, I need my next dose to sort of get back to that space. And so a lot of women who are struggling, they'll be like, I keep seeing this thing here and I keep seeing this thing there. And when you're experiencing it, you're not experiencing it through this lens of like, oh, this is the thing happening that's making me feel empowered. You're experiencing it through the lens of, oh, there's this thing that's hurting me again and hurting me again, right? And so it is kind of like a drug in a way where it's like you need it to feel better, but it's continually making you feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay? And you can get stuck in that place and in that process. And it's sometimes really difficult to break out of. Okay? But it is possible to be able to take some of the value, take some of the information, the ideas, and say, oh, okay, this is good, valuable information. But I'm not going to get stuck playing in this cycle. I call it tapping into the energy of the solution. Right? So when we're trying to solve something from the energy of the problem, we're fixated on this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And why this is a problem energetically is because you can't say, I don't want this thing, or this thing is a problem, and pull in the solution or the positive experience at the same time. Right? Whatever you are focused on, that is what you're going to be amplifying and creating more of in your experience. So it's this like counterintuitive thing of like, well, I need to focus on the problem because I need to fix it so that I can feel better, right? And that can also start translating into this sort of trauma response, where that's where this feminine shield comes into play of I have to protect myself from this thing that has hurt me in the past so that it doesn't hurt me again. And switching into the energy of the solution, you still have some awareness of this thing you don't want, but you're approaching it from the space of what I do want, right? And that space can feel like it's unsafe, it's letting them off the hook, it's ignoring the problem, right? And it's hard because on the other side of the pendulum here is the I'm not paying attention to the problem, I'm not aware of the problem, I'm not focusing on it at all in any way, and I'm dismissing it, downplaying it. That's also a problem, right? We want to find that in-between space where we have some awareness of the contrast, what we do want and what we don't want, but we're able to stay in that energy of the solution and building that and bringing more of that into our life and our experience. And that, oh my goodness, that is like the sweet spot of change and of experiencing more of the things you want in your life. And it is my favorite thing to help people learn how to do and how to navigate. In fact, inside my Rising Feminine program, that is one of the things that we do is we help you learn how to tap into that connection with your own self, how to hold it and how to maintain it throughout all the aspects of your life. So we're switching sort of that orientation of how we approach a lot of things. And what happens is challenges where it's like, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. All of a sudden, it's like you find the loophole. And it's like, wait, how did that happen? All of a sudden, I'm experiencing this thing that I didn't think I could experience before. Right? It is such a powerful tool when you learn to see and navigate life in that way. And it's why I love sharing it with as many women as I can. The next round of my program is going to be starting up this month. Applications are currently open. They close on Tuesday, though. So you've got just a couple of days left here to fill out an application and apply. It goes through all of the details in the application, asks you a few questions in there, because these programs are for very specific people who are ready for this type of work. And so I want you to know that you feel ready for it and that I'm a good fit to work with you. But man, when you get inside, the community that is there is always some of the highest caliber, and not because they come that way in. So if you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm feeling a little hesitant about even just the idea of considering this, let alone signing up or showing up, I want you to know it is so fun to see the difference of, like, we all have them, areas in our life where we're still playing small, or we're unsure, or we're not quite as confident, and we're just, I don't know. And when you get to be in this environment that just fosters your becoming and you getting to step into this experience of being connected to yourself more and expressing that in your life, regardless of what's going on around you, not only do things start to change, which is awesome, you feel differently. And there's just nothing to quite describe it, right? You have to kind of come and experience it to know it for yourself. But it is so worth the process. So worth it, right? Right now, I have 3 more spots open. I know there's a few of you around here who they're calling your name. You're like, oh, yes, this is the thing I'm looking for. This is what I need. Come join us. It's going to be so amazing as we journey through this process of helping you find that connection and bring it into your life, because there's nothing like being able to have a deep sense of well-being regardless of what's going on around you, right? Inside or out. If you are interested, feel free to comment below. I'll send you the link. You can also find it in my bio. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you recognized that pattern and that cycle of, like, getting stuck in the anger, or feeling like there's this protectiveness that I need to come up, or I need to be focusing on the problem and how do I fix it? And what would it mean to you to be able to switch into the space of finding the solution instead of breaking out of that sort of addictive cycle and feeling like you could actually start experiencing more of the things you want, rather than feeling like you're just talking about why they're not happening, right? It's a powerful place to be. I'd love to have you join us. Take care. Oh, sorry, YouTube did it again. Gotta end the live here. Thanks again for watching, and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.